Big Lez's League, an all rugby league experience.
Mm.
And I hope he hasn't jeopardised his club.
Yeah, best case scenario, KP gets paid and this gets put behind us. I
Absolutely.
guess. So let's see what happens.
Send me some money, KP.
I'd like a piece of that too. Dave Fifita to the Roosters. Speaking of guys getting the bag, what about this signing, Das?
Well, we sort of talked about it last week as well, didn't we? We said, you know, when the Roosters come in, they rarely miss. The only thing that I sort of am a bit worried about, does he fit their sort of style of play, the Roosters? Like, they are very defence-orientated, work really hard for each other. They've got a proven back row there, Angus Crichton, who's playing out of his skin, who runs that hard line. He stays in the system the whole time. And then there's David, who's a bit off the cuff, drifts in and out of games. But I don't know.
Yeah, I think to be like, you got to have a good defensive system, like no matter what team you are. And he needs to fit into whatever defensive system it is. I get what you're saying. He's if you look at the way Roosters are attacking the last couple of weeks, that suits. That suits Dave Fifita. Get him early ball on the edge, let him do his thing. Whereas when they're playing Radley deep into the line, he more or less has to just run that hard line inside the 3-man. And not that he can't do it. He's just far more dangerous when you give him the ball and say, hey, go for it. It is – I like what you said there when you question whether he'll fit into the system when you've got a proven back rower that's going through a purple patch now in Crichton. Crichton's 28. How old's Fifita? 24?
Yeah, 24.
So
going on 25.
It could be a genius move that they don't let their players play too long, and you miss out on someone like a Fifita. So you're doing a mini rebuild without doing a rebuild. I think it could be a genius move. And I saw Crichton's comments that no one had spoken to him.
We'll touch on that in a second because obviously there's been some rumours about Crichton as well.
All right, go for it.
But firstly, do you think that the Panthers and the Rabbitohs go for Angus Crichton and don't throw the money at him, the war chest?
Well, 28's still not that old.
Yeah.
He's still coming into his peak.
He could get a good 3-year deal.
Easy.
Yeah.
South, big chance.
Yeah.
You know, coming from the South system before. And Penrith, like, far out. They're both two clubs that he would consider.
Yeah.
It seems to me like the writing's on the wall if they haven't spoken to him yet, especially if he's vocal about it, you can see that he's frustrated.
Yeah.
You don't just talk to the media unless you got the shits.
Yeah.
You know, he could have kept that in-house, but if it's really genuinely like, hang on, what's going on here?
Yeah.
There's always... Where there's smoke, there's fire.
Well, the quote, it almost sounded like as well, as Darcy checks his Snapchat again, that
I'm seeing what's going on next.
the quote actually made it sound like he had no idea that Fifita was coming to the club or that he'd be replaced in that sort of way as well, which is just bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, him coming out to the media, like Ren said, that shows that he's frustrated, probably a little bit hurt as well. Like he's playing out of his skin. He's been there for a while.
Yeah.
Especially what he's come back from last year, without going into it. You know, he's had a few dramas the last 12 months.
But like, he's in a good position, you know what I mean? But he obviously wants to be at the Roosters, which is a big credit to the Roosters. How when you go to the Roosters, no one wants to leave the Roosters.
Yeah.
So, but he's in a very good position now, off contract, playing out of his skin. He's probably going to get picked for
State of Origin.
State of Origin, like, you know. And there's teams out there that will snap him up in a second.
Yeah.
So he's about to get paid regardless.
Yeah, no way. Like, it's not only Penrith and South that need him. There's plenty of clubs
You
that
think
could take
Dragons will probably throw at him? Or
We spoke about the Dogs last week
Gold
too.
Coast?
him. Wallabies.
Yeah.
Do you reckon that they organise Crichton to go to the Gold Coast? If they've taken Fifita from the Gold Coast?
Imagine what the Wallabies would throw at him as playing as a 12. Like, NRL players, they go there, they go play straight for the Wallabies. Like, that's just the quality of athlete we have in our game over that game.
Do you think he'd be a 12 in rugby union?
Well, what else would he be? He'd be a 12. He'd be hitting inside he'd just be bash and barge, bash, turn and set. He wouldn't be an outside back. He's not fast enough. He's just a 12. That's what a 12 does in rugby union, just another back rower. And you travel the world, you get probably double the money. You get a Waratah contract, and you get a Wallaby contract.
Yeah.
He could probably earn 1.52 mil a year.
Yeah.
I would take that into serious consideration. I think being 28 though, you still want to test yourself in the NRL.
Yeah.
You know, it's a World Cup year coming up soon too, isn't it? Oh, in the rugby union. Oh, who cares about that game?
Yeah.
But anyway, there's big money to be made
Yeah.
and travel the world and nowhere near as hard on your body.
Yeah.
He could probably play till he's 35, finish over in Japan where they play 12 games a year. So he's in a really strong position at a good age. He's just got to make a really tough decision on what he wants to do in terms of his sporting career.
If you're Angus Crichton, are you going to rugby now, or are you going to try at your hardest to get?
Oh, well,
to
that's
stay in
my
the NRL?
point. That's the position he's in. He's 28. He's in the peak.
Yeah.
In his peak.
But if you were Angus Crichton,
I'm going where the money is.
Yeah.
Like 28.
It's easy for us to say that now. Like I was always, there's plenty of opportunities where I could have chased money.
Yeah.
And he kind of regret it now because,
Well, yeah, I actually do one now.
We're going to bring up Toronto again here.
that's twice on my podcast, mate.
Yeah, look, he's in the driver's seat. Just I would drag it out as long as possible. I'll get through Origin. And if he can win a premiership this year without making a decision yet, fucking bring on the Wallabies.
Yeah, not
Bring the
bad.
checkbook in.
So, rumours have come out during the week that he could be making that return to the Rabbitohs. Do you think?
You won't give up on the Rabbitohs, will you?
Yeah, I know.
You
I
just
won't,
love
but
your
that's what the
bunnies.
rumour
He
is.
wants us
I'm
to
talking
say
about
yes.
the
Just
rumour.
say yes and then we can
Yeah,
move on.
yeah.
Yes.
I'm just reporting.
Yes, he's going to the Rabbits.
He's going to the
You've
Rabbitohs.
reported
Who else
Rabbits
do you
3
want there?
times.
Who else do you want there?
I'm just talking about what's
Cleary
been
to the
reported.
Rabbitohs.
That would be nice. That would be nice. I wouldn't mind that at all. Fuck, we need him. Let's go through the actual quote that we touched on before with Angus Crichton. The actual quote from Channel 9 was, "No one's talked to me, and I'm not sure if they will. It does make you question where their head's at. If you want to be playing well and getting the best out of myself, I don't want to be sitting behind anyone."
It's a great quote.
He sounds pissed off.
Yeah.
Pissed off.
Crichton to the Rabbits.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Let's
Like
move
that.
on.
I like that. Let's go to Origin.
What happened to my dogs? I thought we were going to talk about the Bulldogs.
Let's talk about the Bulldogs for a minute. Talk to me about your doggies. Panthers, big game, and obviously performed very well.
I've got to touch on the Dogs.
Yeah, you gotta touch-
Former club.
Have to.
But what was the line? What were they given? 13.5 start or something like that?
I think it got up to 15 before the game.
15. I don't know who these experts are that have. I wish I actually backed that. Because I thought, look, they were outstanding. Like to go to Penrith on a Friday night in the wet and put up a fight. They were pulling them apart early. They just got too excited. When they saw these opportunities on the edges, they just needed to cool the jets a little bit and just get to a point where someone stood up and said, "Hey, let's just kick to a corner. Let's just," because the back end of the first half is when they started to make a lot of errors. Penrith scored 2 tries, but they just showed for anyone that's a Bulldog supporter how in this competition they are.
Yep.
They just needed to, a few crucial areas, too many penalties. And I'll show you. I've got some stats today.
Go for it. Get the stats up. Stats
You
man.
stats man.
I am the
he's still
stats
my
man.
job.
Doing your job.
He's
No,
still
I'm
my
just
job.
proud of this club, man. Especially for Serrata to just turn this club around. Last year they were last in defensive.
Yep.
They
were
across
last.
the board.
They were last in missed. They had the 3rd most missed tackles.
So I saw this online today. Post contact meters per run by an opponent
Yeah.
first. Pre contact meters per run by opponent first. So their line speed's the best. Tackles made 3rd. Tries conceded 3rd. Line breaks conceded 4th. For a team to turn that around in 12 months, regardless of how many different signings they've had, they still got to fall into a system that Serrato's implementing.
Yeah.
And within 10 rounds, they're almost the best defensive team in the competition.
Now I will correct myself so I don't lose my stat job, but they were first for missed tackles last season with nearly 1,000.
That's right. Missed tackles weren't great on the weekend. I think they.
Yeah.
50.
Their edge back rowers missed a few.
I thought they were the better team. They was for a longer period. There were just moments they let themselves down.
Can't question their effort or their commitment or working for each other. It's just a little bit of polish.
Yeah.
Really.
And I mean, we've brought it up before. Their forward pack, the size of their forward pack too. Kurtman, Bailey Hayward, some of these really smaller guys.
But remember, I spoke to you a few weeks ago when I said they're pulling the trigger in yardage.
Yep.
So they're getting to their edges. That's where they're going. That's where they're getting all their meters.
Yeah.
Because they know their strength is on the edge. And then when they need to go through the middle, they'll go through the middle. There's no point in trying to go and challenge Penrith through the middle.
Yeah.
They're just a more superior pack, size-wise, bigger. So they just got to play to their strengths. And probably Jason Taylor might need to get some raps behind this because he is their attacking coach.
And you know what's insane as well with the Bulldogs' performance? That was Penrith's best game this year by far.
Yeah, they haven't
And
been
the Bulldogs
playing well.
played
You're right.
unbelievable. They kept it between, with a 6-point margin by the end of the game. Just insane. And Bronson Sherry and Josh O'Carr, what about them on that left edge as well?
And Burton and Kiggs.
Yeah, they carved up.
Crichton, that's the strongest I've seen him carry out of the backfield.
Yeah.
And that's where I question whether I wanted him in Origin, but seeing him carry the ball as strong as he did, and I know it's playing against his mates and his former club. I want to see that every week.
Yeah.
Like he was trying to genuinely bend the line, like break it.
Yeah.
Like it was just like Penrith wall. And it just gave you a good indication of where the Dogs are at. They just needed to just tidy up a few areas, less penalties. Man, and they'll be knocking on top 4.
Yeah.
I don't know what their run's like for the next 10 rounds. I need to have a closer look at it. I don't know how many top teams they've played. Penrith, Roosters. They have played the Sharks. I'm not sure. But good signs.
Yeah, great signs. And obviously this coming week as well, they've got a massive test for them to get back into the top 8 as well.
Canberra.
Yeah.
Fuck, they're a gritty team as well.
Canberra off the bye, and it's 61% of the time teams off the bye win this season. So huge test.
Huge test.
Plus Canberra get Rapana back too at fullback.
If they want to be a genuine threat in this competition, they need to win this game.
Yeah.
Like they need to beat Canberra. Like Canberra are gritty, but if you can put them to the sword kind of early, they can tend to fade away a little bit.
Yep.
You keep them in the grind, and that's when it's a 50-50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Great signs.
Thank you for letting me bring up my dogs.
You're welcome. Well, I thought that me bringing up the Rabbitohs was only fair to let you have a little bit of a...
We got something on Manly?
No, unfortunately. Sorry, mate.
Keep going.